The desert lit up, the crowd roared, and just like that, Justin Bieber stepped back into the spotlight in a way that felt less like a performance and more like a moment people had been waiting for without even realizing it. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications because this story is still unfolding and you'll want to catch every update as it happens. Now, let's get into what really went down. On day 2 of Coachella, Bieber didn't just perform, he headlined, and honestly, that alone carried weight. This wasn't some quiet return or low-key appearance tucked into the middle of a lineup. This was center stage, prime time, the kind of slot reserved for artists who can command attention without trying too hard. And the truth is, he didn't have to try that hard. The crowd was already locked in. What made the performance hit differently, though, was the music itself. Instead of leaning heavily on newer material or trying to reinvent the wheel, Bieber leaned into nostalgia. And not in a forced way, more like flipping through old photo albums with fans who grew up with him. Songs from earlier eras filled the setlist, the kind that instantly transport you back to a different time. You could feel it in the audience. People weren't just listening, they were remembering. But here's the thing, nostalgia alone doesn't carry a performance. It can fall flat if it feels lazy. That didn't happen here. There was a noticeable shift in Bieber's presence on stage. He looked more grounded, more aware, maybe even more intentional. It's hard to explain exactly, but it felt like he wasn't just performing for the crowd, he was also reconnecting with himself. And yeah, that might sound a bit deep, but watching it unfold, it didn't feel exaggerated. Fans picked up on that energy almost immediately. The reaction was loud, emotional, and consistent from start to finish. You know when a crowd is just being polite versus when they're fully invested. This was definitely the second one. Every note, every pause, every transition seemed to land exactly where it needed to, and that kind of response doesn't happen by accident. Industry observers didn't hold back either. Many described the performance as a big league comeback, and honestly, that label fits. Not because Bieber had completely disappeared, but because this felt like a reset, like he stepped away, recalibrated, and came back with something clearer. The visuals played a big role too. The stage design wasn't over the top for the sake of it, it actually supported the mood of the performance. Lighting, screens, transitions, everything worked together to build emotion instead of distracting from it. At times it felt almost cinematic, like each song had its own atmosphere, its own story. Then there were the vocals, and this part matters. Because for a lot of artists, especially those who've been in the industry as long as Bieber has, vocal consistency can become a concern. But here, there was a noticeable improvement. Stronger control, better delivery, more confidence. It didn't feel strained or forced. If anything, it sounded like someone who had spent real time working on their craft behind the scenes. Of course, none of this stayed contained within the festival grounds. Social media exploded almost instantly. Clips, reactions, commentary, everything started trending within minutes. It's kind of wild how fast these things move now. One performance and suddenly it's everywhere. But that also says something about relevance. You don't trend globally like that unless people still care. And clearly they do. Now, here's where things get interesting. This kind of comeback doesn't usually happen in isolation. Performances like this often signal something bigger. New music, a tour, maybe even a full rebranding phase. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but the timing, the execution, it all suggests that this might just be the beginning of a new chapter. And if that's the case, then Coachella wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. A reminder, really. Because at the end of the day, what this moment showed is pretty simple, but also kind of powerful. Nostalgia, when used right, can reconnect artists with their audience in a way that feels genuine. Taking time away from the spotlight can actually reshape how people see you. And live performances, real, raw, in-the-moment experiences, still have the power to redefine careers. Bieber's return wasn't just about proving he could still perform, it was about reminding everyone why he mattered in the first place. And maybe, just maybe, it also makes you think about something else. How stepping back, even when it feels risky, can sometimes be exactly what's needed before stepping forward again.